The requirements to get an E2 visa are there's several requirements. Some of them are very hard and fast, yes and no kind of requirements. So before we would even get started on anything, we would look at those requirements and say, okay, does it work or doesn't it work? Some of them we can control. So some of the requirements, it's just how we move forward with our things. So for example, um, to get an E2 visa, you have to be in control of the investment enterprise. So we're going to form a company that's going to become the company that's going to purchase a business. Well, in order for you to control the enterprise, you have to basically own a majority of the interest of that enterprise, or in some cases 50%, but generally a majority. So we can control that. I mean, if we're going to be the ones who are forming the enterprise and we're the ones who are going to be issuing the shares, then that's a requirement we can control. So there are a few of those kinds of requirements that really aren't worth talking about that much because, again, they can be controlled. They can always be a yes. There's really no reason why they should ever not be a yes. Um, the only other requirement that I would say is kind of in that first category of ones that are either a simple yes or no is that in order to get an E2 visa, the applicant has to be a national of a country that we have a treaty of commerce and navigation with. So there's a big list of countries that we have a treaty of commerce and navigation with. That's just a simple yes or no. Either we have a treaty and you can apply, or no, we don't. Um, it's interesting sometimes to me, some of the countries that are on the list and some of the countries that are not on the list. It's really not a matter of that, every country that we have a good relationship with is on the list. Um, Similarly, I guess it's not totally true that every country that we don't have the greatest relationship with is not on the list. But um, there's really one kind of notable country that I guess is always worth talking about, which is the United Kingdom. So we do have a treaty of commerce and navigation with the United Kingdom, but it is really the only one that I'm aware of that requires not only that the person be a national of the UK, meaning holding a British passport, but also that the person be residing in the UK. So that is a little bit of a different requirement, whereas most of the treaties don't require that residing in kind of situation, as long as you're holding a passport from that country. So with the UK, for example, if you are residing in the UK and you have a British passport, then you're fine. Then you meet it's a very simple yes. If you are a UK national who's living in Spain or something like that, maybe it's not a yes. Maybe at that point it's a no. So some of those kinds of requirements are the things that we just have to look at. But again, if you're a national of a treaty country, and if it's the UK and you're living in the UK, residing in the UK on a permanent basis, then it would be a simple yes or no analysis on that. Really, the more important requirements, the ones that when I say we can are simple yes or no's, or that we can control. I guess we can control these also in some way by just making sure that whatever investment we go for is going to work. But really, the biggest requirements, I would say, that people that are specific to the investment that's made, not so much specific to the person that's the investor. The biggest requirements really revolve around the fact that you have to make a substantial investment in a business. And then secondly, that investment in the business that you invest in has to be non-marginal. And these requirements are really, I would say, the reasons why visa cases fail. So the other requirements, the things that I said, are simple yes and no's, and the ones we could, just go down a checklist and say either the answer is yes or no. those, typically are not the reason cases fail, because you never get to a case if you look at some of those requirements. I mean, for example, if you're not a national of a treaty country, then why are you submitting a case in the first place? So those are not the reasons why cases fail. The things that are going to decide whether cases succeed or fail generally are that investment in a business, a substantial investment in a business, excuse me, and also, is the business non-marginal? So really, those are the two. Let's focus on those two for a minute, because those are the two that really matter. They're probably also two of kind of the most misunderstood, and I'm not really sure why, but I know for a fact that if you really look at different websites and different forums, and if you talk to people you run into at the grocery store who have E2 visas, and who've been told different things over the years by different people, I would say that there is a tremendous amount of misinformation out there about these two requirements. So it's not at all uncommon that when I meet somebody for the first time and they're sitting in that chair, that they are saying, somebody told me I have to invest at least $250,000, or I've heard numbers $500,000, or $1 million. So you do hear a lot of kind of numbers thrown around when it comes to what is a substantial investment. How much money do you have to have if you want to do this in order to buy a U.S. business? And the answer really is that there is no bright line test when it comes to the investment amount. So contrary to all of these different things that you see and hear that people tell you, there's nowhere, I would defy any of them to go find that in the law, or go find that in the Foreign Affairs Manual or the visa regulations, and to come and show it to you. So there isn't any place where they would find that. There's nowhere where it says that an investment of X dollars is good enough, and an investment of less than X dollars is not good enough. So in the over 20 years that I've been doing this, we've done E2 visa cases successfully in all different price ranges. I think the lowest one we've ever done was $15,000. So shockingly, there is not, this $250,000 minimum number that people talk about.